My second day in Paris started off with a good breakfast and good entertainment before I had another family meeting, to which I set off after I had filled my belly. On my way to said family meeting, I enjoyed seeing all the different murals which you can find everywhere in Paris. Some of them are really creative. The afternoon of this day I had all for myself, so after the family meeting I set off to discover the city on foot. They do have a really good public transport system with buses and tubes and so on, but I just felt like walking and the weather wasn't too bad anyway. Seeing this facade first made me very happy, but when I took a closer look, I discovered that every single plant is made of plastic. Artificial plants. What else is next? In general, though, I must admit that Paris has a really beautiful exterior architecture. I really wish I could have seen the city in the time when all the houses looked like that. There seems to be a guitar shop on almost every corner in the city, and there are always customers in there. Guitars really must be a hit these days in Paris. The first popular landmark I visited in Paris was the Galerie Lafayette. I had never been there before. It is a big shopping mall, kind of like Harrods in London, and it's very pompous inside. From the outside, it looks totally normal, but from the inside, there's little details everywhere, a lot of decor, and a glass roof. It looks pretty amazing. I think if you're ever in Paris, that's definitely that's definitely a place to stop by and look around a bit. Don't get dizzy. Round and round and round we go. Usually, you can also walk around on the balcony around the top of the glass roof, but this day when I was there, you sadly couldn't. But it was still amazing to see it from a close up from the inside. This is the Opera House, and if you check it out on Google Maps, you can see it looks even more amazing from the inside. If I had had any more time, I definitely would have checked it out from the inside. The construction sector is definitely on a rising branch in Paris. It feels like every fourth or fifth house is covered in scaffolds. Yep. What this city is really missing, by the way, is signs. There's not a single sign saying, hey, go this way, you get to the Louvre. Go this way, you get to the Eiffel Tower. You have to check Google Maps on your phone on every single corner to know where you have to turn left or right or straight ahead. That is definitely something that needs improving. Here I had finally reached an area of Paris where I felt like I knew my way. This is where the Louvre is, and this is La Comédia or La Comédie France. And it has a really nice walkway with pillars, and behind that, there's like a little art construction in the main yard. So I had been here before. The Louvre Museum really is gigantic. Everybody always only thinks of the little glass pyramid in the middle, but the entire building surrounding it is the Louvre, actually. And back there in the distance, there's the city gardens of the Tuileries. Through the Louvre, I finally got to the River Seine, and I also found some sunshine, the first sunshine in weeks, as it felt. In Paris, just like where I come from, it had been raining for weeks. Look, there's a tiny little police boat. Isn't that cute? And this island in the middle is the Ile de la Cité, and back there at the construction cranes, that's Notre Dame. Oh dear, I'm not a physics expert, but all this ice dripping through the bridge can't be very good for the stones. and the stability of the bridge. I mean, it does look beautiful, but they probably should do something about it, right? Each of these green boxes becomes a little shop in summertime. Now, during the winter, hardly any of them are open, but in summertime, vendors sell old stuff like vinyls and antique books and other antiquities to tourists. Almost 6 hours after breakfast and more than 20,000 steps later, I decided it was time to look for a little creperie to grab a bite to eat and also to use the toilet because that is always an issue in big cities for me. Near the Centre Pompidou, I came across this amazing gigantic mural and also this little pond full of frozen statues. Don't they look great? They were installed there by artist Niki de Saint-Phal and one other artist whose name I forgot. And I think they probably look fantastic in summer as well, but with the ice, it was extra cool. Look at the snake, it's completely frozen over. And this one's nose is dripping. Seriously, though, what would a visit to Paris be without a good crepe? Right next to the creperie is the Centre Pompidou. It was built originally to offer French people and the citizens of Paris of any social stand the chance to access free knowledge in libraries and museums inside this building. By now, some of them are not free anymore. For some, you have to pay, but others are still free, and you can go up to a platform to overlook the city, and the library is also still free. I thought about going inside, but the weather was just too beautiful, and I wanted to enjoy the long lost sunshine. Maybe another time though, because it really does look cool, doesn't it? I had never been this far east in Paris before. I was looking for a road called Rue Crémieux, which I had seen on the internet and which looked beautiful, so I thought I should check it out. Well, Rue Crémieux is beautiful indeed, but even there, a scaffolding. So that ruined the picture a little bit. But after I had walked past this scaffold, I saw some pretty nice spots after all, some really nice house facades with tiny little details which I thought were very cute, like the magpie and the cat and the little birds. Right next to Rue Crémieux, I discovered something I had read about. This used to be an old railway line, but after they closed it, they turned it into a park above the city. And when you walk along, you can't even imagine it was a railway road. It looks so natural. It's such a great idea. Much better than tearing it down. When the sun was almost ready to set at 4 p.m. already, I decided it was time to turn around because I knew I would have a long way back ahead of me. On my way back along the Seine, I even discovered a tiny little hobbit house. Isn't that cute? When I checked Google Maps and saw that I still had almost 5 kilometers ahead of me, that is 3.1 miles, I actually did consider maybe taking a subway train once I had reached Notre Dame back there in the distance. During my very first visit in Paris in the really hot summer of 2003, the city had poured out a lot of sand down there, placed some palm trees, and put up deck chairs and proclaimed it the Beach de la Cité or something like this. I can't speak French. Over there is the construction site of Notre Dame. They have been reconstructing the high tower for a long time now, but there's still lots to fix. Right across from Notre Dame, there's a really neat, cozy little bookshop, an American bookshop or English, whatever, called Shakespeare and Company. I think they say it's American, but the name is English. Anyway, I wanted to show you around inside, but sadly, no pictures allowed. When I crossed the bridge across the Seine and the sun was setting, I finally caught my first glimpse of the Eiffel Tower in the distance, pretty far away, so I was not sure I would make it there tomorrow before I had to leave. To be honest, Paris doesn't look all that scary when it gets dark. I usually don't like walking around in the dark in a big city, but everything is illuminated, so I decided to walk home after all and not take a subway. I saw some really beautiful lit buildings and streets, and by the time I had finally reached my hotel room, my feet really knew what they did today. That was a long day, but fun.